Just three. Justin and Daniel Carl. It's just that missed freaking.
5 minutes later.
Hey guys, you caught me getting a little fantasy nuts here. My name's Luke Evans. This is Fantasy Nuts. We're going to be going over the Monday night game, Raiders versus Chargers. And we're going to be going over some waiver wire pickups that you guys can grab this week. So stick with me. If you like the content, hit a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe, leave a comment below. I appreciate you guys tuning in. So jumping into it, I got a little crazy because Herbert did so well. All he needed to do was just one more touchdown in the second half. He threw 3 in the first and didn't throw 1 in the second. I was just dead sure I was going to win my league. And then when Carlson came out for that 50-yard field goal, that's technically all I needed right there. Just kick that field goal, and it's over. I was like, this is it. I got it. And then he shanks it left. You got to be kidding me. Oh, man. It was a depressing night last night, but it was fun. I did win one of my leagues, one of my bigger leagues, and lost one of my bigger leagues. And then in my smaller leagues, the ones I'm in throughout varied. So we'll see what happens. All right, so let's go over to the Chargers side of the ball. Chargers looked really, really good. Obviously, first half, their D looked really stout. I mean, they could not even move the ball on the Chargers in the first half. Derek Carr was anemic. The offense looked garbage. They couldn't move it. I mean, they literally had like 0 yards of offense in the first half. Justin Herbert, he came out. He had 175 yards passing in the first half, 3 touchdowns. I thought he was going to come out and literally light it up in the second half. That did not happen. He only ended up with 222 yards and that same 3 touchdowns. He still looked really, really, really good. He's kind of reminded me of like a Aaron Rodgers-like quarterback where he's just spreading it around. Because if you look at the targets, it was Jared Cook, Austin Eckler, and Donald Perriman. Okay, so Keenan Allen and Mike Williams didn't get involved. That stinks. But maybe that shows you a little bit about that Raiders D is looking a lot better than it has in the past. As the Raiders did look kind of good in defense in spurts. Let's go over to the Raiders side of the ball. Funny thing enough is Carr actually ended up with a decent day. 21 for 34, 2 touchdowns, and had late interception. Didn't help. But not too god-awful bad for how he started off. Henry Ruggs, nothing. Gosh, I told you guys I thought he would break big one, and he almost did. There was a couple plays he almost did. One of them was a flag, got him down near the red zone. So, I mean, Ruggs still had 60 yards on 3 receptions. So, Hunter Renfrow did get in the end zone. I did say I thought he would. He's just one of those guys I just felt like was going to get in the end zone this week. So that was good to see. I like seeing that. The Waller got in. That's always nice to see Wally do well. I always like Wally the Walrus. So, yeah, it was a good game as far as, it was kind of one-sided in the first half. Second half comes out. They pull it within 1 touchdown by scoring 2 right off the bat, bring it 14-21. Boy, that put some flame on the Chargers to make something happen. They did. They closed it out in good fashion. So it was a good game in my opinion. Chargers look legit. They might be contenders this year. Watch out if Herbert can continue playing like that. So, all right, guys, that wraps the game up. Let's go ahead and pop into our waivers. All right, let's go over running back waiver. These running backs are available in over 50% of the leagues. So technically you should not have too hard of a time finding one of these guys. First one on the list, I got Damian Williams. Damian Williams is going to be a good backup to anybody that just lost David Montgomery. Montgomery will probably be down for a couple weeks as long as his injury is minor. But I still expect him to miss a week or two, which makes Damian Williams a nice pickup as long as Damian Williams' thigh bruise does not turn into something extreme. J.D. Mckissic. This is the guy probably owned in most leagues. So J.D. Mckissic is really, really good. If you can grab him, he'd be my first waiver priority pickup off the waiver right now. He's just so good and used in that backfield. Rivera likes him. I think J.D. Mckissic is definitely worth every fab buck if you got it. Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell did really, really well with the carries that he had with the Eagles. It's not like he's seeing a ton of volume over Sanders, but he's seeing about the same amount. And doesn't seem like they like Sanders there or something. So I'd go grab Kenneth Gainwell, stick him on your bench, especially if you have Sanders, because you never know if they're going to make that transition to Gainwell. Samaje Perine. Yeah, hey, Cincinnati just lost Mixon, most likely to a high ankle sprain. This guy always has feet problems. This is just standard for him. I don't know why people always think he's going to be healthy every year. He's not ever healthy. But saying that, Samaje Perine is a good pickup. He's going to fill in for him. He's going to get the volume. He's going to get the carries, I believe. This is the guy to own for the backfill of Cincinnati while Mixon is out. Let's talk Alex Collins. Alex Collins for Seattle. That's a good one. I like this pickup. I think I'm going to try to go grab him in a few leagues if I can. He's just getting as many touches almost as Carson's. This is 2 weeks in a row now that they've limited Carson's to 13 carries. So if they're going to continue to do that and they're going to continue to feed Collins, I think Collins is a great pickup. He's a great bye week play, fill-in play, and if Carson's goes down, it's going to be the Collins show. So, all right, guys, moving on to wide receivers. We're going to start with A.J. Green. A.J. Green is starting to look like vintage A.J. Green like he did when he was with the Bengals. Man, I really like what I'm seeing from him. It's tough for me not to love. I've always loved A.J. Green, so it's tough for me not to just fall in love with this right now. But that offense is spreading the ball around so thin, it's hard to tell any given week who's going to go off. So I don't know if I would confidently go grab A.J. Green, like, I'm going to go stick him in my lineup right away. No. It's going to be a tough offense, I feel like, to read besides maybe DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. Hunter Renfrow. I'm going to tell you what, this guy, I told you, he's turning into little Cooper Kupp 5.0 or Walmart size, whatever you want to call it. He is really, really good. He catches the ball. He's consistent. He's Carr's safety blanket. He's going to get the volume, and then you add a touchdown on top of that. You see what he gets is like a 17-point fantasy week. Jakobi Myers. Again, I think Jakobi Myers, second week in a row, had a good week. I told you guys I think this was a guy to pick up last week on your waivers. Mack and him seem to have a good connection. I think Myers is the guy to own in that offense. Van Jefferson is also one of those guys you could get just about anywhere right now, I think. And I think he's going to be second fiddle there to Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods is not looking all that great, and he's starting to complain. He's visibly upset on the sidelines. That's generally not a good sign. I could see them going and switching to Van Jefferson real soon here because he's been more productive anyways, in my opinion. Darrell Mooney. Darrell Mooney is the guy that's getting the targets in Chicago. So if you're going to own a Chicago wide receiver, I'm sure you want it to be Allen Robinson because you drafted him to be that guy. And that sucks because I did. And I am in the same scenario. So don't trip. Maybe you can go out there and grab Darrell Mooney. Let's give him a shot. I think he's actually worth it. I'm trying to get him in a few leagues. Moving on to QB waivers. My boy, if you haven't picked him up yet, like I told you to last week, Taylor Heinicke. What can you say about Taylor Heinicke? His measurables are in the top 5% of the most athletic in the NFL. He's only consistently put up 20-plus fantasy point games in the last 3 weeks against good defenses. Go out, grab Taylor Heinicke with confidence, and start him. He is good. He is really, really good. All right, Sam Darnold's my next on the list. This guy's looked like Michael Vick reincarnated. I don't even know what's going on. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns through 5 weeks. He's got the most rushing touchdowns for any quarterback. I'm sure nobody would have guessed that, but Sam Darnold has been nothing but consistent. 20 points, 20 points, 20 points, 20 points, 20 points, 20 points. I think you can confidently go out and play a Sam Darnold. All right, now let's talk about Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. I think, man, what he did against New Orleans looked real good. I didn't think that he'd be able to do something like that. That D may be overrated, but coming into the year, it was supposed to be a top-notch D. So either Daniel Jones is showing us he's really progressing as a starting QB, or that D is not as good as we thought it was. Either way, I think Daniel Jones is a great streamer play. Get out, go pick up Daniel Jones as your second quarterback. All right, Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a guy that I'm putting on here because there's not a lot of other quarterbacks out there that I'd go grab. But what he reminds me of is like a Jalen Hurts. He didn't have a huge game, but because of his legs, he ended up getting a decent fantasy game. So his legs are huge. They're going to give you fantasy points. I think you can go out and grab a Trey Lance and almost feel like you're starting a Justin Hurts type of player. Going on to tight ends, C.J. Uzomah. I was skeptical at the beginning of the week when I saw the 2 touchdowns happen on Thursday. But man, if Burrow keeps using him like that, these tight ends are starting to look like just red zone favorite targets in every team. Every team has a tight end now that's probably gone for almost 2 touchdowns in one game that I have on this list. So, this is kind of a crazy year for tight ends. You don't normally see tight ends doing so well this year. All right, Hunter Henery is up next. Hunter Henery, it's more of a stash play for me to see what happens. See if Mac Jones starts to find that safety blanket in his tight end. That's what I'm kind of doing here. I think Hunter Henery is an okay pickup, but I don't think he's somebody I'm going out and grabbing and starting right away. Zac Ertz. I know Goddard's there, but Zac Ertz is still a stud tight end. He's still worth the grab. He had a decent fantasy week. Why not go grab Ertz if you need something? I mean, Logan Thomas went down. Gronk's out. There's probably people needing some tight ends. Tyler Conklin. Told y'all how I feel about Tyler Conklin. I'm starting him in one of my leagues this week. I like the Conk. I think that Cousins likes Conk. So, for the Vikings, get out there and grab Tyler Conklin. My last one, I have Alie-Cox. Man, I love Alie-Cox. Let me be honest with you. This guy, I was high on him last year and kept telling everybody, oh man, this is the guy, this guy. And then every time I play him, he'd give me like 4 points. But then he'd put him on my bench and he'd go get 2 touchdowns and do what he did this week. So it's hard to figure out when to play him, but he's a great red zone target. As you can see, he only had like 4 or 5 receptions and 2 touchdowns. So that's, the volume isn't really there, but it looks like a Dawson Knox or, a Dalton Schultz or something like that. So, I like Alie-Cox. I think you can go out there and stash Ali, maybe even play him this week, especially if you're in need of a tight end. All right, guys. Here, that wraps up the video. I appreciate you guys tuning in this week. I had some fun. Hope you guys enjoy the new graphics I got going on. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, leave a comment below. Don't get too nuts like I was at the beginning of this video, but stay fantasy nuts.